Hey everyone, welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most essential and, yeah, sometimes confusing parts of AutoCAD Electrical, the humble terminal. I promise, by the end of this, you'll see them as the powerful backbone of any clean, intelligent design.
So, let me just ask you this. You've seen a complex schematic, right? It's a total web of connections. How in the world do you keep that organized, make it reportable, and connect it to your physical panel? Well, the answer is the hero of our story today.
At its very core, a terminal is that single point of truth for a wire connection. Think of it as the bridge between your logical drawing, the schematic, and the real physical world of the panel layout. It's the one thing that brings order to all that potential chaos.
Okay, so if we're going to master terminals, we got to build from the ground up, right? So let's start with the absolute foundation. What are they? How do you actually place them? And what do they look like?
So dropping a terminal onto your drawing is super straightforward. You'll find them under Insert Component, and you can even pick from 5 basic styles, which is kind of handy for visually separating your circuits. But, and this is a big one, you got to be careful. If you use a one-line terminal symbol, the one that's meant to represent a whole strip, the software can't automatically link it up. That means any changes have to be done by hand, so just keep that in mind.
All right, so we know how to place a terminal. Now let's get into what makes them so smart. See, not all terminals act the same way. They each have their own little personality, and that's determined by their type, which basically controls how they interact with your wires.
And it really boils down to 4 key behaviors. 4 types you absolutely have to know. Trust me, understanding these is what separates a basic, flat drawing from a truly intelligent and dynamic design.
Okay, this is where the magic really happens. A non-intelligent terminal? It's literally just a visual marker. It won't even show up in your bill of materials. Then you've got wire number matched. This one's a huge time saver. It just automatically copies the number of the wire passing through it. User-defined is pretty self-explanatory. It gives you total manual control. And forces new wire number, well, that one's the boss. It makes a brand new wire number on the other side. The type you pick here directly impacts your reports and your final parts list, so you want to choose wisely.
Now, this brings us to what I think is the core concept of this whole explainer. A terminal hardly ever works alone. It's all about relationships. And in AutoCAD Electrical, there are 2 and only 2 fundamental ways that terminals can be connected to each other. And this breaks it down perfectly. On one hand, you've got schematic to schematic. Think of this like stacking Lego bricks. You take individual terminal symbols on your drawing and you link them to create one single multi-level block. And the best part? Your bill of materials counts it as just one item. So cool. Then, on the other hand, you have schematic to panel. This is what I call the digital twin relationship. The symbol on your schematic and the footprint on your panel are 2 sides of the same coin. You change one, the other updates instantly.
So, how does the software actually keep track of all this stuff, right? How does it know that 3 different symbols on a drawing are actually one single component? It's not magic. There's actually a really elegant system working behind the scenes.
The entire secret, the absolute key to that whole schematic-to-schematic relationship, it all comes down to one single hidden attribute. And it's called link term. This is the invisible string that ties everything together.
And the process is just beautiful in how simple it is. When you insert a new terminal, bam, it gets its own unique link term ID. Then, when you use the Associate Terminals tool to link it to another one, the software just copies that ID over to the second terminal. Now they share the exact same link term value, and AutoCAD knows they belong together. It's really that simple.
But hey, with great power comes great responsibility, right? You have to be careful. If you manually go in and change or delete that link term value, you'll break the connection. The upside, though, is massive. Because they're linked, they share everything. So if you change a property, say the part number, on just one of those terminals, all of them update automatically. This is a huge time saver, and it guarantees everything stays consistent.
Okay, so we've talked about the how, but what's the best way, the pro move? For that schematic to panel digital twin relationship, you can forget about doing it manually. The most powerful, most efficient, and most error-proof way is to use the terminal strip editor. It just does all that association work for you, automatically. It's a game changer.
Phew, we have covered a lot of ground, from the basic types all the way to the secrets of the link term attribute. So let's just pull it all together into a quick reference guide. You can think of this as your personal cheat sheet for totally mastering terminals. So let's recap the big takeaways here.
First, know your 4 terminal types and what they do. Second, get the difference between linking symbols to create a multi-level block versus linking a schematic to its panel twin. Third, remember that link term is the secret key for those schematic links. And finally, the terminal strip editor is absolutely your best friend for panel associations. If you've got that down, you've got the core of it.
So now you've got the knowledge. But theory is great and all. The real understanding, that comes from actually doing it. So the only question left is, are you ready to go build your first multi-level block? Come on, fire up the software, because the absolute best way to master this is just to get in there and start connecting.